This is the first of a series of 4 recordings on a problem that bothers so many parents today. What should I teach my child about sex?
Every generation has a culture and every culture has different subcultures. Today I want to explore a subculture where for many there is more than meets the eye, but a lot of us have been in contact with it in one way or another. I'm talking about the rise of skateboarding culture. Throughout the years we've seen various examples of skateboarding in TV, film and video games. In the late 80s, all throughout the 90s, the early 2000s and perhaps even today, skateboarding has been a way for countless kids to rebel and differentiate themselves. The extreme sport saw a rise of popularity through extreme sports on TV and the Tony Hawk video games. But for those of us who took part in the sport itself, a whole new set of worlds within a world were opened. Kind of like an overmap in a platform game. We all knew that it wasn't just about the skateboarding, but that we were part of something bigger.
Hello, computer. Hello, computer. Hello, computer.
In the year 2002, I started my own skateboarding story. I was a spiky-haired, punk rock loving, baggy pants wearing 12-year-old that wanted to expand being a rebellious, obnoxious teenager. Skateboarding was the next logical step. I had been playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the PC and the original PlayStation, and they had been feeding me, along with those anime music videos, tons of new music. Bands were added to my catalog and it seemed to further express my fluctuating identity. Everything I discovered, every new trick I learned on that board was a way to shed my skin. After I had broken the board that I had bought at the toy store, I remember setting foot for the first time in our local skateboard store. It was called the Global, and suddenly I felt this energy, like a new world was opening up. Skateboarding back then wasn't just a sport. Like I said, it was a whole subculture. It came with music, art forms, clothing, brands, food, but nothing was as iconic as that local skate shop.
Man, what about Gino's part? Come on, you gotta take your hat off doing backside 360 Manny down the Rosalind Banks.
In the background you would hear old school hip hop or punk, and not unlike the Tony Hawk games, there were skateboarding videos on show all day. These skateboarding videos felt like updates from the battlefront. We saw the newest tricks, discovered bands, as every skateboarder chose a specific song for that skateboarding part in the video, and we all had our preferences. The skateboard videos were often brands in decks, shoes and clothing, and were competing with each other's rosters of pro skaters. When the Baker Skateboard Company and the Piss Drunks got popular in our local skating community, we saw a shift in tone and looks. The baggy pants were traded in for tight jeans and outfits reminiscent of the Ramones. These guys were our heroes and we tried to emulate them with various degrees of success. My favorite skater back then was a little bit more down to earth, but befriended a lot of the Baker Boys and was a recurring character in the Tony Hawk games. I'm talking about Jeff Rowley. I remember having his signature Vans shoes and the Motorhead references he seemingly had permission to use, and he was the one I identified with. Must have seen his part in the skateboard video Flip Sorry 100 times. These videos were our modern cinema, and just like some kids trying to make their own movies, we were trying to make our own skate videos. We made a list of the best skating spots in our town and cities nearby, and these spots over time became local legends, just like famous sets of stairs in these professional skate videos. The skate videos were filled with music, and for us it felt like the skaters were trying to educate us with their music taste, as most of the time they could choose only one song for their part. I remember discovering Jimi Hendrix with my sister because of his skate part in the Flip Sorry video. Because of this skate video, I became a musician. It's as easy as that. After a while, I was a skating musician instead of a guitar-playing skateboarder. Skateboard culture has been an incredible catalyst in my life, and I have the fondest memories of those years. Now let's play some of my favorite skateboarding games. We'll start off with Skate It on the Nintendo Wii. Skate It has the option to use the Wii balance board, but the controls are way too sensitive. Often the game will tell you not to jump on the Wii balance board when you haven't lifted your feet at all. This being completely glued to the board feels unnatural for a skater, as you need to adjust your stance by the smallest angles for various tricks. After I played with regular controls, being the Wii remote and the nunchuck, I rediscovered what I liked about this game. It's the physics, the way the impact is conveyed when you land a trick, the hang time in the air, and the camera make you feel like you're in a skate video. Of all the games I played, this is the most realistic skateboarding experience. Playing Tony Hawk American Skateland on the DSi XL is just pure gameplay fun. The game runs so smoothly and all the essential gameplay elements are here. It feels like a powerful title for the system, and it really has its own quirky identity with customizable gravity walls, skate parks, outrageous skaters, and something that approaches an open world kind of gameplay. This is one of my favorites gameplay-wise. It isn't too difficult and therefore it makes for a relaxing gaming experience, which we all need from time to time. With the announcement of the remastered versions of the first two Tony Hawk Pro Skater games for Nintendo Switch, I wanted to take a trip down memory lane and revisit my most played skateboarding game of all time, Tony Hawk 3. Back in 2002 and 2003 I was mainly a PC gamer, and I remember my favorite titles being Warcraft 3 and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. These titles kept me away from consoles during that period, but for this retrospect I played the game on the Nintendo GameCube. I've heard that this is arguably the best version, and since I've been revisiting the GameCube anyway, I relished the chance to combine the two. The controls took some getting used to, and to be frank, the game has a steep learning curve. And it was like having to relearn the game actually. Especially extending my combos with manuals and keeping them going. Once I got the hang of it, the gameplay opened up. Tony Hawk 3 is known for its fun side missions every stage. Sometimes it is pretty obvious what has to be done, but other times finishing these require creative solutions. It is glorious to combo your way through a level while hitting some of these targets on the list. When I started skating myself, Tony Hawk 3 became an extension of that, and I love playing with my favorite skater and customizing his board in the shop. Every stage I would change his board because in real life he would have done so as well. After a while I stopped playing the game like a gamer and started to play it as a skater. How can I make these realistic runs and make them flowing seemingly without obviously crashing, going too fast or making it seem impossible to replicate in real life? My high and sick scores started dropping, but I got to admit that the feeling of a kickflip backside crooked and landing it on your way down on the funbox is very satisfying. Well, here we go. Trying out Tony Hawk 1+2 the remastered version for Nintendo Switch. The first new skateboarding game for me in years, and I've been waiting for the Nintendo Switch release because I don't have a PlayStation, and well, I can't wait, guys.
And if I was to be a teacher, I'd teach the world to rock and roll, reminding everybody that you do not sell your soul. If you know what you want, no one can want it for you. Yeah, there will always be someone who says, get a real job, but it takes guts to chase a dream. It's not a pizza.
With the newest addition to the Tony Hawk franchise and seeing all my old heroes again, it feels like full circle. I may have stopped practicing skateboarding, but I'll always be a skateboarder. Every time I play my guitar or one of these games, I'm reminded. Every time I look at a piece of clothing beyond its practical use. Every time I see a logo, every time I think back to one of the best times of my life. Thank you, Tony Hawk, for bringing me back and giving me the tools to keep returning. If the standards they held for these remasters are anything to go by, we will be in for one hell of a roll when part 3 eventually hits the shelves. Skateboarding made me find my voice, and it has been cemented in my identity. You can take away the board, you can take away the console, but a skateboarder will always be a skateboarder.
You throw the tomatoes on top of that. Carrots, write it down. Carrots, celery, pancetta. You don't know what pancetta is? I can't help you out. Pancetta is Italian bacon. Really good.